Good morning. Welcome back. Hope you guys are ready for another half hour-ish of talking about Hamlet. I didn't tell anybody that this was happening, that I was going live, so maybe nobody's paying any attention. Maybe that's better, less pressure on me that way. Anyway, if you do see this later or you're seeing it now or whatever, hope you guys are doing okay. Hope today is a good day. Hope yesterday was a good day. Obviously, every day is something new, and just got to keep on keeping on. Yesterday, we had a warm up, which was what's the best part of being in quarantine or locked down or staying home for all this time. I don't know if you came up with any good reasons. I did, I guess, and I shared this with you. The warm up, the journal entry, what I'd like you to think about today, excuse me, is what's the worst part? The worst, not, some of the worst parts, not, maybe pretty bad, but, as far as you're concerned, what's the worst part of being stuck in the house, stuck at home, not going about your daily lives? So think about that and maybe write about that today. Remember, I think that, for, posterity's sake, for the long term, keeping a journal, writing in your journal every day, whether you use my prompts or, something else, do what you want. But I think it'd be a good idea to keep track of your days here. I think, when you're older and, look back, this will be something interesting to not only look at yourselves, but show, your kids or your grandkids about what happened in the great coronavirus, shutdown of 2020, because this will end and we'll be back to, normal before you know it. But it also probably last a while longer as well. Anyway, so that's what you should get started with as well. I'm wearing a hat today, obviously, you can see. We are not in school, and school rules about hats don't apply in my house. You can wear a hat in my house anytime you want. So I'm wearing a hat. And, for those of you who always, complain about the rules and the hat rules, well, here you go. You can wear a hat in school or while learning right now. Anyway, just another perk of online learning and learning from home. So let's talk about Hamlet. So yesterday, Hamlet, let us know that he was going to contrive a version of the play called The Murder of Gonzago, in which he's going to try to trap Claudius into acknowledging his guilt and letting Hamlet know, therefore, that he can go ahead and get the vengeance that his father's ghost asked him to do, to go after Claudius and kill him as revenge. Hamlet hasn't done it. He was reluctant to do it. He didn't act upon it. And now he's come up with this plan. And he says, if I find out that Claudius is guilty, I'll watch him during the play. And if he is guilty, I'll know what I need to do. So that's the new plan. What we should keep in mind, though, is that Hamlet is, delaying. He's not going out and doing what he said he was going to do right away. And, that is worth noting. So then that part ended, and he was in the room alone with Ophelia, and Ophelia basically returned the letters. He said, I never loved you. And then he said, I did love you. And he's going to tell her, or maybe he just did. I've moved forward a little bit, that he wants her to go to a nunnery. He says, get thee to a nunnery. And basically, he doesn't trust women. And it's not just her, it's his mother as well. So through Shakespeare, Hamlet is saying that women can't be trusted. Maybe this play is a little misogynistic. There are not a lot of women in the play, and the ones that are in the play don't have a lot of valuable attributes. So that's something to talk about later if you'd like to, or look into more if you want to. What I would suggest is, let's just move on. So what we're going to see today is I'll jump around maybe a little bit, which is hard on the fast forward, but we're going to see that Hamlet confronts. Hold on one second. This is the news conference that always takes place, and
our National Guard.
Andrew Cuomo, he's the governor of New York. He gives a daily news conference, and I don't know. I haven't really been watching it. Been watching a little bit of it. He's really good. He demonstrates. He seems like a pretty solid leader, and he's doing a great job of keeping people in New York, especially where he's governor, of keeping them apprised of what's going on in their state. Anyway, there he is. There's Hamlet. He's talking to Ophelia, so we'll jump around. He's going to yell at Ophelia the whole fight. Ophelia, Claudius, and Polonius will all think that Hamlet's madness is kind of triggered by Ophelia's rejection of him. And then we'll move towards the play, The Murder of Gonzago, performed before Claudius, where things get real. Really a turning point in the play in many ways. And, let's see what's going on here.
Indeed, my lord. You make me believe so.
But you should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I love you not.
I was more deceived.
Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I can accuse me of such things that if a better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are arrant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways,
All right, so he says, go to a nunnery. So a nunnery is where it's a convent. It's where nuns live. And he's basically saying, go away. Don't trust any men. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody. And that's kind of telling, right? We know that Hamlet is up to something. He's got a plan that's in place. He says, I did love you. No, I never loved you. So Hamlet's kind of, he's talking riddles. He's being honest. He's letting us know that he really did love Ophelia, and she really did love him. So their love was real, and Polonius is sticking his nose in there, kind of messed things up for pretty much everybody. And then he wants her to go away, basically, because, he knows things are going to get ugly. Things are going to go bad, and he wants her safely away. So he's trying to send her a signal, and, whether or not she gets it or not is unclear right now. The second thing is there was a thump in the background. So we know that Polonius and Claudius are hiding and watching. Suddenly there was a sound in the room, and Hamlet is clued in like right away that something is not right here. And he figures out very quickly that she is manipulating him, that there are people watching. Where is your father?
Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play a fool nowhere but in his own house.
So right away, Hamlet says, where's your father? He knows the only person really legitimately, who's got the characteristics of being a spy is Polonius.
If I dust my house, give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to another. Go, farewell. For if thou wilt need to marry a fool, the wise man know well enough what monsters you make of them. Don't run. Go, and quickly do farewell.
Heavenly powers restore him.
I have learned that your paintings do well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourself another. You cheat, you apple, and you lisp, and you nickname God's features, and you make your wanton exterior.
So similar to what Polonius said and Claudius said a little while ago, Hamlet says the same thing, right? He says that I know that God has given you one face and then you paint it over with another, basically saying that, women, specifically her, Ophelia, are two-faced. So now they're right in the mirror, right in front of where Polonius and Claudius are.
Abraham. No more marriages. Oh, but I'm married already. That one. Shall
All right, so that's pretty deep, right? Hamlet says, we'll have no more marriages. Look, again, they really seem to love each other. Their relationship was real. But then he kind of is almost like he's talking right through that mirror to Claudius, and he says, those that are married already, all but one shall live. And there's only two married people in this play. It's Claudius and Gertrude. And he's basically said, well, of all those married people, only one is going to survive and live. And that's a direct threat, probably, as far as Claudius is concerned, is against him. So things are amping up.
the rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery. Go.
Oh, what a noble mind is here on the throne. Courtiers, soldiers, scholars. I, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion, and the mould of form, the observed of all observers. Quite done. And I, of ladies most dejected and wretched, that suck the honey of his music vows. Now see, that noble and most sovereign reason, like sweet bells jangled out of tune and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of loneliness, blasted with ecstasy.
So she thinks he's gone crazy, which is the way he's behaved in front of her.
See what I have seen. See what I see.
Enough. His affections do not apprehend, nor will he speak to it let fall. The little was not madness. It is his soul in which his melancholy sits on brood. And I think out of the hatch and the disclose will be some danger.
Yeah, so Claudius is scared. He doesn't think that Hamlet's madness is caused by love or the rejection of his love. He says there's something that seems to be bothering his soul, and it's going to be some danger. So he's paranoid now.
To prevent, I have a quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, but on his brain still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself.
So Claudius says, you know what? I don't trust him. I don't want him around. I'm going to send him to England. And he says for a neglected tribute. And basically, somebody in England owes the king or owes Denmark money, and Hamlet is going to be a messenger. He's going to get on a boat. He's going to go over to England, and he's going to collect the money. Claudius is sending Hamlet away and, getting him out of, Claudius's, proximity. And Claudius will feel safer that way. And he says maybe, being on the sea and getting some fresh air will help, make him feel better as well. But Claudius isn't buying the whole Hamlet's mad because of broken heart stuff.
What thing do you want? You shall do well. But yet do I believe the origin and commencement of this grief sprung from neglected love.
Polonius still thinks it's his broken heart.
Will you not tell us what Lord Hamlet said? We heard it all. My lord, do as you please. But if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his griefs. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she finds it not, to even send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall sit. Okay.
So Polonius is being Polonius there. What do you think he's doing? What's the plan? Yeah, I don't know if you're thinking or just, saying, hurry up, Mr. Ritzer, answer it. Anyway, the plan is, he says, after the play tonight, I'm going to go hide up in the Queen's room, send Hamlet up there, and I'm going to spy on the two of them and see if I can hear what's going on. Again, Polonius, being sneaky, underhanded, a spy.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
Yeah. Look at Claudius; he's fired up. Right? Madness, it shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go. Yeah, he's going to hide upstairs and spy on him. And yeah, he's being overprotective of his daughter. So Claudius, he doesn't trust it. He says, this guy needs to be watched. I'm going to watch him. So you can't, I don't know if you can read that. It says Norwegians army advanced, breached Fortinbras in command. We know, if you remember, that Fortinbras is taking his little army that his uncle gave him and going where? Exactly. He's going to Poland, but he's got to cut through Denmark to get there. So this is just a little something that, the director of the play throws in here to get us to, look at, remind us of what's going on, and build up the drama of what else is happening off screen. Who's that? Horatio.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do.
I don't know if we're going to watch this part. I might just fast forward it a little bit here. But this is it's a funny part, because Hamlet is telling the actors how to act. And he's saying, basically, don't overact. He's like, a lot of actors have a tendency to overact things. What I want you to do is, stick to the script and act it out the way, it's written down. What was I just about to say? See, now this is awkward too. So Hamlet is giving the actors direction, but it's funny if you step back from it, because it's really Shakespeare giving the actors direction. He's saying, use the script in front of you, don't overact it, just read it like it's supposed to be read. So it's Hamlet telling the actors how to act, but it's really Shakespeare telling the actors how to act through Hamlet, which is, it's funny. And,
I had us leave the town.
If we have more time, I know we got a lot of time,
do
but
not saw the air too much with your hand thus. But
I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So anyway, this is before the play is being performed in front of the king and the queen and everybody else. And really, Hamlet is just going on and on about how to act and not overact. He tells the actors and the actresses, how much he likes them and stuff. This part.
So rewards has taken with each.
This part's kind of okay. I'm just going to give you a summary. Portland. Hamlet is telling Horatio two things. One, he's telling him that he's his best friend. He's the only person that he trusts. The other is that he wants Horatio to watch the king during the performance of the play, and then they're going to meet afterwards and compare their thoughts on how the king reacted.
All thanks, and blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please.
All right, so I didn't notice that before, I don't think, and this is the first time I've noticed that, but Hamlet is telling Horatio that a good friend, somebody you can trust, is Fortinbras. I'm sorry, I was looking at your comments. I got distracted. So Hamlet's telling Horatio that a good friend is not like an instrument that you can play, and he uses the analogy of like a flute, and it's not buttons on or holes on the flute that you can push down or let go to change the sound and makes the sound you want. A real friend tells you how it is, speaks honestly.
Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him.
He
in
says
my
just
heart.
somebody who's honest and true, somebody who speaks honestly is the most important thing as far as he's concerned.
As I do thee.
Anyway, basically, Horatio is the only person Hamlet feels like he can trust right now, and he needs him. And he's telling him what the plan is, and Horatio says, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'm here for you. We're buddies. All righty. So I'm going to let this, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this play. I'll break it up. I'll interrupt. Anyway, the king, the queen, they're sitting in that big hall that everything else in the castle takes place in. And they're putting on the play. And all the royalty is there. All the people are there watching. It's a big night. And Hamlet is, going to have the murder of Gonzago enacted. He makes it awkward. His behavior is strange. People in the audience are like, whoa, what's going on? But this is a turning point in the whole play. After this moment, nothing is the same anymore. So we'll watch some of it, and I'll stop it, I think, where need be. But this is, it's a pretty good scene. There's a lot going on here.
There's our cousin Hamlet. Excellent debate of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air, promise crabbed. You cannot feed capons, sir.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
No, you're mine now. Yes! You played once in the university, you said.
That did my lord, was accounted a good actor.
And what did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar.
Oh.
I was killed at the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Do the players ready?
Oh, my lord, the second pleasure.
Come hither, my good Hamlet. Sit by me.
No, here is metal more attractive.
Oh, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean, I head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
What do you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my
It's a
lord.
fair thought to lie between maid's legs.
What is my lord?
No thing.
You're merry, my lord.
Do I? Oh, God, you're only kid maker. What's a man do but be married? For look you, how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within 2 hours.
It is twice 2 months, my lord.
So long. Nay, that the devil wear black, rather the suit of sables. Heavens, died 2 months ago and not forgotten yet. Then let's look at great man's memory. May outlive his life half a year. But by Our Lady, I must build churches then, or else you'll suffer not thinking long. With the hobby horse, whose epitaph is for the hobby horse is forgot.
All right. Anyway, so Hamlet makes everything really uncomfortable, right? I mean, he's loud there. He's flirting. He's saying inappropriate stuff to Ophelia, and the whole audience there, they can all hear it. The king and the queen hear it. So Hamlet is A, acting crazy, and B, he is, making a scene, and he's saying some things about his death of his father and his mother moving on, and the role of Ophelia. All right. So this before the play, they do this thing, and it's called the dumb show, and it's basically a minor mini enactment of the play before the play, and it's called the dumb show because nobody's talking, right? Like they're deaf and dumb.
What means this, my lord?
Sorry, this is mitching mallet that means mischief.
So the dumb show's over, but anybody who's starting to pay attention in that room there is Yeah, I think there's only 2 of you using this live chat, so I don't know. It looks like there's only 5, now 4 people watching it. They're missing out. Anyway, let's watch this part and get through it today, and then maybe tomorrow we'll talk about it.
This fellow, the players cannot keep counsel, they'll tell all.
There's the first actor.
You show that you're showing, be not you ashamed to show that you are taken to take what it is.
You are not. I'll mark the play.
For us, and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
It is the prologue of the posing of a ring,
It's brief, my lord.
as woman's love.
I like this scene.
30 times he was tried.
I like this scene because as the tension mounts in the room, the camera cuts a lot between the different characters up in the audience. So you got the king and the queen and Hamlet, Ophelia, and random people because you can see how tense it's getting in there.
Long round.
So this is the king, the queen.
Tennis's orbit grounds. And 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheens about the world of times 12 that he's been. His love.
I think I'm going to skip this a little bit, actually, for the sake of time. But really, what's going on here is the player king is telling how the player queen how he's gotten really old. They've been married for, I think he said, for 30 years, and he doesn't expect to live much longer. And he says, when I die, I want you to move on, to find somebody else. And she keeps saying, the player queen keeps saying, no, I won't do that. You're the only person I'll ever love. You're the person, that the last person that I'll ever be married to. And really, it's a good contrast between Gertrude and Claudius and Gertrude and King Hamlet from before, because she's the opposite of that, right? He died and she moved on right away.
Of our hearts and heart did our
Maybe I'll stop it a little further on here.
mutual.
Anyway, but he goes on and on here, back and forth about, how much he loved her, and blah, 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 and she loves him. And it's a good part. I would read it in the book if I were you, if you're interested.
And shortly to my operative power.
But the king, look, everybody is, even as fast forwarding it, so you can see them go from person to person, and people are starting to whisper, and tension is getting uncomfortable because everybody there knows that this is kind of plays on what's going on
Lament to his joys.
or what's happened in
slender accent.
Denmark.
This world is not for I, and 'tis not strange that in our loves should with our fortunes.
It's easier to go fast forward on the computer at school.
Fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy grave, and never come mischance between us twain.
Madam, I like you this play.
The lady does protest too much.
So that's another very famous line. If you want to add that to the list of very famous lines, right? The lady doth protest too much, methinks. So if we had slowed down and watched all that, you would have seen the player queen keep telling the player king how no matter what happens, she'll always love him. And they'll be together. She'll be his only love, and she'll never get married. Yeah. She keeps kind of saying the same thing. And when Hamlet says, "What do you think about this?" She's like, "I think the lady protests too much." Almost like the lady is putting up too much of a front that she'll never remarry. So that's a famous line. When you hear somebody say something and they're guilty of it, and then they keep going on and on and on, and they say, "I didn't do it. No, it wasn't me. I never would do that." Blah, 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 blah. Maybe they're protesting so much to overcome or compensate for the fact that they actually are guilty of doing something.
Thanks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offence in it?
No, they give a jest. Poison in jest. No offence in the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. Very hot topic. This play is the image of a murder. Down in here, goes on with the Duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see not tis and read this piece of work. But on that, your majesty and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galling jade wince, our withers are unwrung. This is what Luciana sniffed.
All right, it's also, he says the play is also called The Mousetrap, right? You know what a mousetrap is, right? There's some bait, mouse goes in it, smash, it gets caught. Hamlet's saying that's what this is, and he says, but people who have free conscience don't have anything weighing on their conscience. None of this should bother us at all. Things are getting super tense. So here we go. Let's watch the climax of this part, and then
You're as good as a chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love if I could see the puppets dallying.
You're keen, my lord, you're keen.
It would cost you a groaning to take off my edge.
Just a letter. It
Will
was.
you miskick your husbands? Begin, murderer! Punch! Leave that down your faces and begin. Come! That's rocking rider! That bell for revenge! Stops! Black hands act. Drugs fit and time agreeing. Come, venomous season has no creature seeing. Now, mixture and come midnight, weeds collected with packet strand, thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and thy poverty. Unwholesome life, you serve in he poisons him. In the garden, for his estate, his name's Gonzago. The story is extant and written in many choice Italian. You shall see anon. Ah, the murderer! Get rid of John Daniel's wife!
He rises.
whoa.
Frighted with false fire.
All right. So there you go. Hamlet got what he wanted. He got the king to react to what he sees on stage. Hamlet says this actor comes out, he pours the poison in his ear, he steals his wife, yada, yada, yada. That's the change of what's going on. All right. Remember, they were watching Claudius to see how he reacted. And how did he react? He stood up. Obviously, something he saw bothered him. Yes, thank you, right? Claudius sees something that bothered him. And Hamlet says, what? Frightened with false fire? You got scared by something that wasn't even real? So that is, the moment where, we see that Claudius is really guilty. So if Hamlet was looking for, some evidence that Claudius killed his father in order to justify his, going after Claudius and killing him and getting revenge, this is going to be the moment that clinches it. All right. So, all right, we're done for today. 33 minutes. That's almost a whole. I'll probably talk more than I would in a regular 45-minute class period. Thank you to the 5 of you who are out there. You know who you are. If you want to go back and read this, the link is up on Classroom. You can go read it, read over the parts that you missed. And otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. I know tomorrow's Saturday, but who cares? Like, as far as I'm concerned, Saturday is just another day, and this gives me something to do, and maybe it gives you something to do. That's 33 minutes of learning something. So have a great day. Stay safe. Wash your hands. See you tomorrow.